Maybe first off, Collaboration Betters the World is a global tech consulting company present in over 30 different cities throughout the world, from North America over Europe into Southeast Asia as well. On stage, you have the pleasure, or you have no choice anyway, to see me and Akshay Jha. I'm responsible for the commercial development of our cloud and infrastructure domain. And next to me, I have Akshay.
Yeah, I'm Akshay. I'm the Principal Solutions Architect at CBTW. I'm also responsible for the Cloud and Infrastructure Service line. And as at To Do, you say, choose the best, forget the rest. At CBTW, whenever it comes to operational excellence, API ops, and governance, you choose the best and forget the rest. So yeah, I give the word again to Thibault to start a bit.
Yeah, sure. So when we talk about operational efficiency, maybe not the first thing that will come to mind is to talk about APIs, monitoring. But in the end, what we see in today's day and age is that you are constantly exposed to APIs in your daily life. Just imagine you order some sushi at an event, you want to follow the driver, there is an API in place. APIs have also forced really companies to speed their adoption of new technologies, and the rise of SaaS has only increasingly forced companies to adopt this. This is what today we'll discuss, is the API landscape and challenges that come along. We'll talk more about observability. How do you handle the incidents linked to the findings, the data coming from the observability? We'll talk about automation and what we believe is the road to operational efficiency, API ops. We'll leave some room for questions and answers as well. To get back into the challenges, like I said, the rapid growth of SaaS needs to have a modular, interoperable approach for products to be onboarded into new technological architectures. Speed to market, seamless integration, customer experience all are essential to adopting new products via API. Well, what we also see is that for companies, they struggle when it comes to integrating this into an existing architecture. And that happens to be our bread and butter. What are some of the key challenges that we see companies face? Well, as soon as you talk about APIs, you talk about exposing data into third parties, into integration. We talk about developer experience because API first development requires a different view, a different approach. And when you then go into not governing the design, not using the same terminology, not using the same kind of approach to deploying, it will get a mess. The modularity of, for example, Odoo is such a great feature, but configuration and consistencies also lead to a lot of frustration. And when you summarize it, Akshay, it all comes back down to one key word, and that is governance.
Yeah, okay. So let's say we would talk about, like Thibault mentioned, about the challenges we face on a regular basis with organizations around APIs, but also in terms of Odoo, where it's a modular approach to integrate with pretty much every system in the market. There, how would the API landscape look like? So let's say that there are certain best practices where you can mostly focus on to ensure that when you integrate yourself with a product like Odoo for your HR systems, for sales, for marketing, for CRM, what would be the best thing to ensure that everything runs smoothly, which is what we call operational excellence, is primarily automation. You must have heard the word a lot, but in every aspect you would hear it, because automation is the key to achieve governance and operational excellence. Because we talk about multiple systems, there is data privacy and compliance, which is always at a risk. And in Europe, especially with GDPR, we have to be too careful about it. We also talk about critical integrations, because primarily the aspect is that a modular approach so that you can integrate with third-party applications. So that's where the risk of critical integrations come into picture, where APIs can help. And apart from all of this, how would you know if there is a problem? And how would you improve the performance? Where can you get the key performance indicators? That's where observability can help you reach there. And along with performance and observability, giving you a bit of strategies, we can give you an idea that a global governance can ensure that all your problems on the API landscape can be resolved. And that's what we as CBTW have, what we called API Ops. So that's something we named it, by designing a set of solutions to cater the problems which Thibault mentioned.
Yeah. And let's maybe dive a bit into the governance strategies.
Sure.
Since this is let's say a brief session of our normal 1 hour talk that we do at other conferences, we have to stay a bit on the high line. So that's why please shoot questions for the end, for the Q&A. If there is topics that you really want to discuss, we're very open for it. Let's get back to the governance strategies. And first foremost is observability that we want to discuss.
Perfect. Now, when we talk about observability, what does it mean? It just does not mean monitoring. Observability is an end-to-end solution where you can monitor your systems, but along with monitoring, you can proactively detect problems. You can understand where the things could go wrong, where you can make it better, and with the vast number of services, requests, billions of services being called, you have third-party integrations, you have customization available. Now with all of this, it's a big thing. How would you approach it? So you could just leverage an observability platform, and what it could give you, it could just not help you with proactive issue detection, which means that you should already be aware of the problem even before it occurs, so that you can avoid the outages, the risks. It can help you with rapid troubleshooting. And it just does not mean on the infrastructure level, but even on the usability level, for user experience, for the people who are consuming the application, for the people who are designing the application, for the people who are maintaining the application. So that's why we say monitoring is a specific set of observability which runs from end to end, starting from the infrastructure to the end user. What does it give you? It gives you an optimized system performance. How? By providing you key performance indicators. Those KPIs can not just help the business understand the problems and solve them on the business level, but it could also help the IT, the software departments, to understand what the problems could be and how we can make it better. Because with scalability, with more and more systems coming in, you need to have the problems less and less. And that's where we come to the part where we say that, see, this is where we are improving. And eventually, the best thing all of us like is reducing costs. So reducing costs, you cannot just reduce costs by coming to ground. You can say we can right size things, we can upscale, downscale on the need, but how would you know that? You don't have the margin to know how much you should upscale, downscale, or downsize it, or right size it. That margin, that exact number you can get with observability KPIs, and that would help you to optimize the cost with the most efficient systems in place. So that's a bit of everything you could achieve with observability when it comes to integrations, when it comes to using with APIs, even in terms of Hadoop. So yeah, I would say that's
and what I really like about what you say is that monitoring should be separated from observability.
Definitely.
I always like to say to our clients to go beyond monitoring and go into observability. And I think one of the main products we like to work with on our side is Datadog, because it really offers a unified platform where you can come from infrastructure monitoring, network monitoring, also into real user monitoring.
Yeah, and it's good. You mentioned about Datadog, because as Odoo, what makes it different in the market? Modularity and customization. You just use what you need. Datadog is exactly the same thing. You just use what you need. So that's why we are very much alike on the line of how it works together as an ecosystem. So yeah, that's perfect.
And talking about collecting data, collecting proactively the issues, talking about troubleshooting, of course, once we have alerts, once we have triggers, we will need to respond, Akshay. And we have to dive a bit into incident management.
Voila. And that's where incident management comes into picture. Now, again, observability, incident management, all of these are things which you are pretty much aware of, and you have heard of it a lot of times, but it's just not a keyword. It's not just a jargon. You need to understand what it can help you do. So starting with minimizing of downtime, it's the most important thing an organization needs. There should be absolutely no downtime, because you cannot make the customer suffer, because that will lead to a bad experience and it could make a downfall. That's the most important thing. As I mentioned in the beginning, proactive problem resolution. You cannot be reactive. We are not in a position to be reactive. We have to be proactive, so that we should just sense that there could be a problem which could come up, and we can just improve that, so that even if it occurs, it can be contained. Because there are times in our industry we cannot stop the problems to happen, but we can contain it. And that's where proactive problem resolution comes into picture. Incident management also works with incident response plans, where employee productivity comes into play, where what you mean is that if a problem comes, it should be properly routed to the right department, and that can be automatically done using workflows. You can have a roles and responsibility matrix which can route all the incidents to the right set of teams with the first level analysis, so that team A is not trying to figure out a problem which team B can do it in 30 seconds. And that's where you improve the employee productivity by not asking them to do something which they are not capable of or which is not their expertise. It helps you build confidence, not just in the team, not just with the customer, but overall in your ecosystem, because you have a certainty. You have a certainty that nothing would go wrong. Or if something goes wrong, you can solve it eventually. And you can solve it, which you call the time to resolution. It should be the fastest. The MTTR, the mean time to resolve a problem, if it goes low, that's the success you achieve with incident management. And when we come with big enterprises and or big companies or markets or a small company, biggest challenges is a legal and reputational risk. If there is a compromise, if there is a problem, fixing it is second thing, but there are news agencies, journalists who are waiting to get that news, throw it in the market and sabotage everything you have built. So that's where incident management also helps you to contain those problems and resolve those compromises so that you are not just exposed in the market in a bad way. So that's, again, we have very less time. We do this with examples. We do this with a lot. But again, this must give you a gist of what we do, and we help achieve people a better incident management platform so that it can help you achieve all the 5 pillars we mentioned here. So, yeah.
And to jump into one of the other key components we talked about is automation. Automation is truly a key when you want to increase efficiency, and efficiency is a big part of operational excellence. Yeah, I mean, let's first talk about automated API deployment.
Yeah, I mean, for us or for any DevOps culture, the primary thing is automation, and that's why the DevOps culture comes into picture, because a dev has the capability to understand and program things, and automation can only be achieved if you are able to program things. So that's where you always hear this keyword, which is the most common thing in our industry, but automated API deployments. We are talking about thousands of servers, machines, hosts, services. How would you manage it? It cannot be a people's job. Or if Akshay is doing it, Akshay went out for a smoke, if something went wrong, how would you solve that problem? That's where you need automation, so that you're not dependent on people to solve issues. And that's where automated API deployment can come into picture. That rather than setting up stages that one person clicks, it goes to the next one, then someone has to do it, you design a workflow. And that workflow should be smart enough. Forget AI. It can even be smart without an AI tool to ensure that all the processes in a CI/CD pipeline or an entire deployment life cycle can be done automatically. And that would help you save operational cost. That will help you avoid problems and minor human errors. That minor human errors sometimes take hours to debug. That's where it helps you with the next point, which is faster time to resolution. As I mentioned, there will be a problem. In our industry, we cannot live without bugs. So for that, we need to be prepared, because we cannot say it is a bug-free system. People can introduce to it. And that's where we come in and say, we can help you resolve it in a faster way. Because when it's 10, it's okay. When it goes to millions, that's a scalability problem. How would you solve that? By automating your stuff, by resolving it in a faster amount of time. And again, from the last slide, you would see it helps you build confidence. And here the confidence is more of the customer, because they know that if somebody is on leave, somebody's on holiday, somebody is is sick, they don't care. They know that their systems would work 24/7. And that's a saying in our culture, that the customer wants the system to work 24/7, not you. And that's what we achieve, so that you can relax and the systems can work 24/7. At the same time, with organizations working with products like Odoo, you have a lot of policies into picture. And there also you can put in automation, so that if a new onboarding happens, offboarding happens, those automated policies can apply and remove the job of an HR or a third-party system to come in and do the job which a machine can automatically do all the time. So that's one of the key pillars of automation.
And before we dive into API ops, maybe Akshay, in 2-3 sentences, what would you say API Ops is before we go to the final conclusion of the presentation?
So, I mean, in one statement, we could say that API Ops is so first of all, Ops, everyone knows, and we all know the jargon, DevOps, DevSecOps, API Ops. So this is coming in the same flow, because the next thing in the world, and today it's APIs. How would you make things easy? By using operations in API. And the main priority for us is governance and operational efficiency. And that's where we say that the road to operational efficiency is API Ops. And that's a real in-house thing from us, where we build solutions really tailored for the customer based on the problems they face on a day-to-day basis. What do we deliver there? We deliver proactive governance, which means that in every stage of the life cycle, it is embedded. If you come up and say that, hey, in my team, there are problems because we have 50 people from 50 different environments, they like to do the job in their own fashion, it is not acceptable in an organization. Sorry. How would you do that? We build a product for you. We build a solution for you. You apply it to all your solutions. Whenever there is a deployment, whenever there is a trigger, it has to follow that. That's governance. Enforcing global policies, centralized deployment strategy, and RBAC is a part of API Ops, because in an organization, we talk about global policies. As I said, there's a new compliance rule, let's say, coming in tomorrow. If it's HIPAA, if it's GDPR, anything, the entire management is really on fire because they need to get it through in a designated amount of time. You cannot go to 100 people and ask them to do the job. Apply it on the top level. That's the thing you do. It will automatically apply to every entity underlying with it. That's what you call global policies. That's where you bring in a centralized deployment strategy. RBAC, the name suggests, role-based access control, attribute-based access control, anything-based access control is just a granular version of telling people that you should only have access to the level you can handle it. If you can't handle it, we cannot give you the access because it could lead to compliance security issues. And this is all is covered with API Ops. And we have a lot more to speak, but again, in terms of Voodoo, again, what it can help you, data-driven insights. Because we have observability into place, those KPIs and those data-driven insights can help you understand what next actions should the business owner, product owner, business analyst, project manager, the head of product, head of solutions, what should they look into? How would they know that the customer likes their product or they are struggling with a specific set of actions? And that's where a data-driven insight can help you. So that's in a very small nutshell.
I see also we started a bit late, so we are a bit in a time necessity. What we also do as CBTW, really, we go to clients and we do API Ops maturity assessments. We go ask, regarding the topics we discussed here, automation, security, governance, strategy, design, we go in and ask the questions, where are you now, to help evolve. So you can check us and meet us at booth M13. I have 3 minutes left. I don't know if there were any questions. If so, happy to answer.
There is actually one, partly. No more. Yeah, I'm gonna take that one. All right, so thank you very much. First of all, do you have any question? We can raise your hand or shout out the question. We'll listen to you here. Otherwise, we'll look at the tab. We have a pad right now. There's one question here already. What is the daily routine of someone in the API Ops team?
Perfect. This should be fine. Yeah. So a daily routine in the team of an API Ops person is just to monitor using the products, for example, let's say observability and the strategies we have built. So that's what they do. They sit, they look at the products, they look if there is an anomaly which is being detected, or if there is something which we can improve on a day-to-day basis, which we get out of the insights, the KPIs which I mentioned. And that's what they do. There are 2 parts. One is to support, which is already created. One is to maintain and improve based on the KPIs we have received. So that's the job of on a day-to-day basis. And my job there is to ensure that based on the customer and based on the situations, how can we evolve the solution to meet any other customer, like a global product, irrespective of a specific domain we are working with. So that's what we do, if that answers the question.
Thank you. Yeah, there is a second answer, and then we might have to go to prepare for the next call. Oh, we're good. All right, perfect. We got the thumbs up. how are you integrating with products where you do not have direct access to infrastructure, like, for example, Odoo SH?
How do we integrate? There are multiple ways. So either we get access from them, not just directly to the systems, or we build an adapter. Using the adapter, we can just go via the adapter, which is owned by the infrastructure components from the company. We just push things to the adapter and they can manage it. And they can see if they want to take it in, what they want to take out. That's something on their part. There are also multiple ways which we can do it. That's something like the adapter is the first thing. The other is a shell. As you said, the shell is something a third party sitting in between, which you as an organization trust more than us. We push it to the third party and you can again propagate it further from the third party to your systems.